चेत् padam tatparamam Vishnur mano yatra prasidati. So thereafter, Eka, one by one. Ava, avayavam, ava, avayavam. Limbs of the body, dhyay, should be concentrated upon. Avyuchinnena, without being deviated from the complete form. Chetasa, by the mind. Manaha, mind. Nirvisham, nirvishayam, without being contaminated by sense objects. Yuktva, being doubted. Tata, after that, kinchana, anything. No, do not, smare, think of. Padam, personality. Tat, that. Paramam, supreme. Vishnu, or Vishnu. Manaha, the mind, yatra, whereupon. Prasidati, becomes reconciled. So now that is why he has just said, therefore, thereafter, you should meditate upon the limbs of Vishnu. This is all the upaya given to Parikshit Maharaj. One after another, we should meditate on the limbs of Vishnu without being deviated from the conception of the complete whole. So one should meditate upon Lord. So we cannot meditate on the limbs of Lord. So what we can do, we can meditate on the name of Lord. When we say Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare should appear in our consciousness. Hare, we have to, there is an I within the mind. So when we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. If this appears in our eyes, the eye of the mind, then understand we have done perfect chanting. Or the mind goes here and there. Just keeping the eyes closed is not enough. The eyes should focus on the, then there is a bliss which is experienced. So a person who is really chanting is always blissful. How to understand this person is really chanting? There is a person, there are people who act to chant. They will act as if they're chanting, but they have so many frustrations in their consciousness. Do you think they are chanting? They don't chant. They just keep their eyes closed. They're always frustrated. They always express anger. But who is really chanting? What they do? They chant. That is why they are always blissful. They are tension free. They don't take any anxiety. This is the Lakshana. Now, the Bhava Lakshana has come. What are the Bhava Lakshanas? He should be always blissful within the mind. So, for that, chanting is very important. How to chant? Chant without deviation. Then, in this way, the mind becomes free from all sense objects. While chanting, if we think so many things, then what chanting happens? There should be no other thing to be thought upon, because the Supreme Personality of God, Vishnu, is the ultimate truth. The mind becomes completely reconciled in Him only. So chanting means thinking about Lord. So how to start with? Because we are all sadhakas, we don't know how Krishna looks. So we can see the form of Lord, but we don't have that capacity to even focus on the limb of Lord. We do not have the capacity even to focus on the beautiful form of Lord, but we can focus on the name of Lord. Then Lord reveals His form. Revelation happens. His form is revealed. We don't have to do jabardasti. We don't have to focus on His form. Jabardasti try to bring a vigraha and then try to focus on that. Instead of that, because this was taught by Bhakti Bhagavata Maharaj. Bhakti Brahat Maharaj. Brahat, Bhakti Brahat Maharaj. He taught. He took art of chanting class. And in that class, he said, don't force it, don't forcibly, don't focus on the form of love. Focus on the name of love. That easily a sadhaka can do. While chanting, he should focus on the name. Then name is a person. Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasavigraha. Purna Shuddho Nitya Mukto Abhinatva Namanam. If you focus on the name, then when you open the eyes also, when you're chanting also, you can see the name. This is the perfection of chanting. That is how he was teaching. And for that, one should strive hard. How perfect I can chant. Because while chanting, I look here, I look at the plants, I look here, I look at the sky, I look here and there, or I may close the eyes and think something nonsense. Instead of that, one should focus on the name. Sit and focus on the name. Abhyasa yogena tataha. Because we are sadhakas. We cannot just casually chant. It doesn't work while chanting some mobile. No, it doesn't work. If we have to chant, we have to chant with the even one round chanting. If we do this sincerely, automatically second round also happens nicely. Automatically till 16 it will happen. At least one round we can start with focusing on the name by closing our eyes. If you are not able to do that, open the eyes, look at the name, write the name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare. You have the chadar, Hare Ram chadar. You can have that. You can have written format also. In this way, you can check. So in this way, one becomes free from the sense objects. Okay, two verses. Adi Satviki Mataji, please chant. Two verses read. Your voice is not coming. Voice. No, your voice is not coming. Kusum, read. Something wrong, I think, from your side. Or you're not unmuted.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, you're not unmuted. Just unmute and try. Adi Satviki, try. Unmute. I think something wrong from our side. Okay, next one we can do that. Kusum, can you do? Start.
Yes, yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Narottam. नियच्छेद विषयेभ्योक्षान् मनसा बुद्धिसारथिः मनः कर्माभिराक्षिप्तम् शुभार्थे धारयेद् धिया. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gradually, as the mind becomes progressively spiritualized, withdraw it from sense activities, and by intelligence, the senses will be controlled. The mind, too, absorbed in material activities, can be engaged in the service of the personality of Godhead and become fixed in full transcendental consciousness. Purport: the first process of spiritualizing the mind by mechanical chanting of the pranava, omkara, and by control of the breathing system is the yogic process of pranayama or full controlling the breathing air. The
Keep your
ultimate
videos
state
off.
of
Keep your
this
videos off
pranayama.
and read. Kusum, keep your video off and read.
Yes,
The voice is sometimes
yes, ma'am.
going and coming. Keep your video off. Yeah, read
Yes.
properly. Video off. Keep your video off. Yeah, read.
The ultimate state of this pranayama system is to be fixed in trance, technically called samadhi. But experience has proven it also fails to control the materially absorbed mind. For example, the great mystic Vishwamitra Muni, even in the stage of samadhi, became a victim of the senses, and history has already recorded this. The mind,
The voice is not clear.
although
Voice is not
ceasing
clear. Nikhil, read.
I
Voice
can
is
read,
not.
Mataji.
Yeah, read.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dandavat.
See, in the online classes now, keep your voice properly. Keep your videos properly. Everything should be proper. Half broken doesn't work. Read. Read.
The mind, although ceasing to think of sensual activities at present, remembers past sensual activities from the subconscious status and thus disturbs one from 10% engagement in self-realization. Therefore, Sukadev Goswami recommends that the next step of assured policy, namely to fix one's mind in the service of the personality of Godhead. Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, also recommends this direct process in the Bhagavad Gita 647. Thus, the mind being spiritually cleansed, one should at once engage himself in the transcendental loving service of the Lord by the different devotional activities of hearing, chanting, etc. If performed under proper guidance, that is the surest path of progress, even for the disturbed mind. Mataji, shall I continue the second one?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Shloka 19. Tatre bang dhyaya dhyayet abuchinnena cetasa mano nirbishayang Yukta Tatah Kinchan Nasmaret Padang Tatparamang Vishnu Manojatra Prasidati. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thereafter, you should meditate upon the limbs of Vishnu one after another, without being deviated from the conception of the complete body. Thus, the mind becomes free from all sense objects. There should be no other things to be thought upon. Because the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, is the ultimate truth, the mind becomes completely reconciled in Him only. Purport: foolish persons, bewildered by the external energy of Vishnu, do not know that the ultimate goal of the progressive search after happiness is to get in touch directly with Lord Vishnu, the personality of Godhead. Vishnu Tattva is an unlimited expansion of different transcendental forms of the personality of Godhead. And the supreme or original form of Vishnu Tattva is Govinda or Lord Krishna, the supreme cause of all causes. Therefore, thinking of Vishnu or meditating upon the transcendental form of Vishnu, specifically upon Lord Krishna, is the last word on the subject of meditation. This meditation may be begun from the lotus feet of the Lord. One should not, however, forget or be misled from the complete form of the Lord. Thus, one should practice thinking of the different parts of his transcendental body, one after another. Here in this verse, it is definitely assured that the Supreme Lord is not impersonal. He is a person, but his body is different from those of conditioned persons like us. Otherwise, meditation beginning from the pranava, omkara, up to the limbs of the personal body of Vishnu would not have been recommended by Sukadev Goswami for the attainment of complete spiritual perfection. The Vishnu forms of worship in great temples of India are not, therefore, arrangements of idol worship, as they are wrongly interpreted to be by a class of men with a poor fund of knowledge. Rather, they are different spiritual centers of meditation on the transcendental limbs of the body of Vishnu. The worshipable deity in the temple of Vishnu is identical with Lord Vishnu by the inconceivable potency of the Lord. Therefore, a neophyte's concentration or meditation upon the limbs of Vishnu in the temple, as contemplated in the revealed scriptures, is an easy opportunity for meditation for persons who are unable to sit down tightly at one place and then concentrate upon pranava, omkara, or the limbs of the body of Vishnu, as recommended herein by Sukadev Goswami, the great authority. The common man can benefit more by meditating on the form of Vishnu in the temple than on the Omkara. The spiritual combination of Om, as explained before, there is no difference between Omkara and the forms of Vishnu. But persons unacquainted with the science of absolute truth try to create dissension by differentiating between the forms of Vishnu and that of Omkara. Here it is indicated that the Vishnu form is the ultimate goal of meditation. And as such, it is better to concentrate upon the forms of Vishnu than on impersonal Omkara. The latter process is also more difficult than the former. Thank you very much, Mataji.
Next verse.
Okay.
Give me 2 minutes. Now 20th verse. 0.11. Here, so Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, the 17th verse, Brahmacharyata has to be followed. That is, Yam Niyam should be there, then Pranayam should be there. Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam. That means 5 process has been given. Then 18th verse we did today. 18th verse speaks about withdrawing the senses, that is known as Pratyahara. Okay. We have Ashtanga Yoga, na? Yam, following the doing the regulations. That means Brahmacharyata, avoiding the sense activities, sensual activities. So Yam, Niyam, waking up early in the morning or going and taking bath in the water, in the holy river. Then Asan, Ushadras, Asana. Then Pranayama. 18th verse speaks about the 5th one, Pratyahara, even from the mind also. Remove the sensual things. So mind should be focusing on Krishna. 19th is spoke about 19th spoke about meditation. That is dhyana. Dharana. Dharana means you take and then do dhyana. So dharana, dhyana. And now 20th verse, dharana, dhyana. That is spoken in the 19th verse. Let us see the 20th verse now. Rajas tamobhyam akshiptam. 1 minute. Here, 19th verse even speaks about samadhi also, because padam is there. Padam means attaining the lotus feet of Lord. So all the Ashtanga Yoga has been spoken in 17th, 18th, and 19th. Rajas tamobhyam akshiptam vimudham mana atmanah yachet dharana dharanaya giro tantiya tatkrutam malam. So after speaking this Ashtanga Yoga, now let us see what Uday Goswami speaks to Maharaj Parikshit. Raja, the passionate mode of nature, Tamobhyam, as well as by the ignorant mode of material nature. Akshiptam, agitated, Vimudham, bewildered, Manah, the mind, Atmanah, of one's own, Yachet, get it rectified, Dharanaya, by conception of Vishnu, Dhiraha, the pacified, Anti, destroys, Ya, all those, Tatkrutam, done by them, Malam, dirty things. Translation goes, one's mind is always agitated by the passionate mood of material nature and bewildered by the ignorant mood of nature. But one can rectify such conceptions by revelation of Vishnu and thus become pacified by cleansing the dirty things created by them. So the mind which is focused, which is agitated by Rajas and Tamas, just by this practice of dharana, one can remove this dharana. And then in this dharana, what happens? 21st verse speaks about it. Both together will do. What happens in the process of dharana? Dharana means take an object and then meditate on it. So yogi what he does? Yasyam sandharyamanayam yogino bhakti lakshanah ashu sampadyate yoga ashrayam bhadram ikshataha. So in that process of dharana, the yogi who sees the Lord by dharana quickly completes Bhakti Mishra Yoga. Bhakti Mishra. That means what? He has added Bhakti in his yoga process. Bhakti Mishra. So it is not pure devotional service. Because he wanted his goal to be fulfilled, he has taken the shelter of Bhakti. But what he has a desire for liberation. But still, he accomplishes. At least he can see the Lord by dharana. He can do that. Bhadram Ashray. He had desire for liberation, but he has taken this bhakti. Because he has taken bhakti, he can see Lord. You know the story of Dhruv Maharaj? He had desire. With that desire, he went and did yogic practices. So what happened? In that process, he got the siddhi also. He got the whole Dhruv planet, what he wanted. At the same time, he could see Lord. Bhakti Mishraha process that is. It's not pure devotional service. Anything which has some motives is not pure devotional service. Even Dhruv Maharaj's bhakti is not pure devotional service. It's bhakti mishra yoga. Okay, read this to Gaut Krishna Priya Mataji, read.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Danda Pranam. राजस्थमोभ्यक्षमाक्षिप्तम् विमूढं मन आत्मनः यच्चेद्धारणया धीरो हन्ति या तत्कृतं मलम्. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One's mind is always agitated by the passionate mode of material nature and bewildered by the ignorant mode of nature. But one can rectify such conceptions by the relation of Vishnu and thus become pacified by cleansing the dirty things created by them. Purport. Persons generally conducted by the modes of passion and ignorance cannot be bona fide candidates for being situated in the transcendental stage of God realization. Only persons conducted by the mode of goodness can have the knowledge of the supreme truth. Effects of the modes of passion and ignorance are manifested by too much hankering after wealth and women. And those who are too much after wealth and women can rectify their learnings only by constant remembrance of Vishnu in his potential impersonal future teachers. Generally, the impersonalists or monists are influenced by the modes of passion and ignorance. Such impersonalists think of themselves as liberated souls, but they have no knowledge of the transcendental personal feature of the absolute truth. Actually, they are impure in heart on account of being devoid of knowledge of the personal feature of the absolute. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that after many hundreds of births, the impersonal philosopher surrendered unto the personality of Godhead. To acquire such qualification of God, realization in the personal features. The Nephotite impersonalist is given a chance to realize the relation of the Lord in everything by the philosophy of pantheism. Pantheism is its higher status, does not permit the student to form an impersonal conception of the absolute truth, but it extends the conception of the absolute truth into the field of the so-called material energy. Everything created by the material energy can be detailed with the absolute by an attitude of service, which is the essential part of living energy. The pure devotee of the Lord knows the art of converting everything into its spiritual existence by this service attitude, and only in the devotional way can the theory of pantheism be perfected. Text 21. Yasyam sandharyamanayaam yogino bhakti lakshanaha asu sampajjate yoga asrayam bhadramikshataha. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O King, by the system of remembrance and by being fixed in the habit of seeing the all-good personal conception of the Lord, one can very soon attain devotional service in the Lord under his direct shelter. Purport. Success of mystic performances is achieved only by the help of the devotional attitude. Pantheism, or the system of feeling the presence of the Almighty everywhere, is a sort of training of the mind to become accustomed to the devotional conception. And it is this devotional attitude of the mystic that makes possible the successful termination of such mystic attempts. One is not, however, elevated to such a successful status without the tinge of mixture in devotional service. The devotional atmosphere created by pathetic vision develops into devotional service. In later days, and But still, it is little later days, and it is the only benefit for the
Read loudly,
impersonalists.
no? It is not clear. Read loudly, nicely. Why you are reading to yourself or what? You are reading for everyone. Read loudly.
It is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 12.5 that the impersonal way of self-realization is more troublesome because it is reaches the goal in an indirect way. Although the impersonalists also become obsessed with the personal feature of the Lord after a long time. Hare Krishna.
Reading is also an art, you know that? When you read, there should be nice pauses and comma, full stop. Everybody should understand. Okay, next. राजोवाच यथा सन्धार्यते ब्रह्मन् धारणा यत्र सम्मता यादृशी वा हरेदाशो पुरुषस्य मनोमलं राजुवाच the fortunate king said yatha as it is sandharyate the conception is made brahman o brahmana dharana conception yatra where and how sammatta in a summary yadrishi the way by which va or haret extricated ashu without delay purushasya of the person manaha of the mind balam dirty things. The fortunate king Parikshit inquiring further said, O Brahmana, please describe in full detail how and where the mind has to be applied, how the conception can be fixed so that the dirty things in the mind can be removed. So just see what to do first was asked. Then how and where it should be done, what to do, how to do, and where to do. These are three questions he asked. Now the time has come, just 7 days are left. What to do, O Lord? Then Sukadeva Goswami says one has to give up all this material attachment, focus on Lord. Then how to do it? How to even focus on? Like how to chant? Everybody is chanting, but how to chant perfectly? The acharyas can teach. And then where should be the mind focusing on? Then only the dirtiness can come out. So how is dharana accomplished? That is the question asked. Dharana means take an object and meditate on it and completely immerse in it. That is known as samadhi. Samyak adhyate asmin atmatattva yathatmaya. Samyak adhyate asmin. Completely concentrate on one's relationship with Lord. So what is the approved object of concentration? Dharana, how it is accomplished. What object should be taken for dharana? Dharana means take an object. Okay, pratyahara means remove everything from your mind. Then take something, na? What to take? And how can one quickly remove the contamination in the mind? So what dharana should be taken? What object should be taken? How the concentration should be there? Because everything depends on our concentration. It is not just verbal, it's not just some mechanical, it's not some show off. It is how a person is completely focused that is most important. So now King is asking Bhakti Mishra Yoga out of curiosity. What is Bhakti Mishra? Desire is there for liberation. Bhakti Mishra Yoga. Anyhow, Sukadeva Goswami is going to teach pure devotional service. Now it is Bhakti Mishra Yoga. Ashtanga Yoga mixed with Bhakti. Okay? For some people, they take dharana as some bindu, some dot, and then they focus on bindu. But here now Bhakti Mishra, so that is why Lord has come in between. Bhakti Mishra Dharana. 20. Similar read 22.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Text 22. Rajo Vacha Yatha Sandharyate Brahman Dharana Yatra Sammata Vyadashiva Hare Dasu Purashasya Manomalam. Translation. The lucky king Parikshit, inquiring further, said, O Brahmana, please describe in full detail the process as to how and where the mind has to be applied and how the conception can be fixed so that the dirty things in a person's mind can be removed. Purport: the dirty things in the heart of a conditioned soul are the root cause of all troubles for him. A conditioned soul is surrounded with the manifold miseries of material existence, but on account of his gross ignorance, he is unable to remove the troubles due to dirty things in the heart accumulated during the long prison life in the material world. He is actually meant to serve the will of the Supreme Lord, but on account of the dirty things in the heart, he likes to serve his concocted desires. These desires, instead of giving him any peace of mind, create new problems of life and thus bind him to the cycle of repeated birth and death. These dirty things of fruitive work and empirical philosophy can be removed only by his association with the Supreme Lord. The Lord, being omnipotent, can offer his association by his inconceivable potencies. Thus, persons who are unable to pin their faith on the personal feature of the Absolute are given a chance to associate with his Virat Roop, or the cosmic impersonal feature of the Lord. The cosmic impersonal feature of the Lord is a feature of his unlimited potencies. Since the potent and potencies are identical, even the conception of his impersonal cosmic feature helps the conditioned soul to associate with the Lord indirectly and thus gradually rise to the stage of personal contact. Maharaj Parikshit was already directly connected with the personal feature of the Lord Shri Krishna, and as such, he had no business to inquire from Shukdev Goswami about where and how to apply the mind in the impersonal Virat Roop of the Lord. But he inquired after a detailed description of the matter for the benefit of others who are unable to conceive of the transcendental personal feature of the Lord as the form of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. The non-devotee class of men cannot think of the personal feature of the Lord. Because of their poor fund of knowledge, the personal form of the Lord, like Ram or Krishna, is completely revolting to them. They have a poor estimation of the potency of the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is explained by the Lord himself, 9.11, that people with a poor fund of knowledge deride the supreme personality of the Lord, taking him to be a common man. Such men are ignorant of the inconceivable potency of the Lord. By the inconceivable potency of the Lord, he can move in the human society or any other society of living beings and yet remain the same omnipotent Lord without deviating in the slightest form his transcendental position. So, for the benefit of men who are unable to accept the Lord in his personal eternal form, Maharaj Parikshit inquired from Shukdev Goswami how to fix the mind on him in the beginning, and the Goswami replied in detail as follows. Hare Krishna Mataji.
How to fix? Shri Shukuvacha Jitasano Jitaswaso Jitasano Jitashwaso Jitasango Jitendriyaha Stule Bhagavato Rupe Manasandharaye Dhiya. Sukadeva Goswami answered, Jita Asanaha, controlling the sitting posture. Jita Shwasaha, controlling the breathing process. Jita Sangaha, controlling the association, controlled association. Jita Indriyaha, controlled senses. Stule, in the gross matter. Bhagavataha, unto the personality of God. Rupe, in the feature of. Manaha, the mind. Sandharet, must apply. Dhiya, by intelligence. Sukadeva Goswami answered, one should control the sitting posture, regulate the breathing process by the yogic pranayama, and thus control the mind and senses. And with intelligence, apply the mind to the gross potencies of the Lord, called the Virat Rupa. So now, Virat Rupa has been introduced. Still, the beautiful, wonderful form of Krishna has not been told. This Virat Rupa, how to concentrate the intelligence with the great potencies of the Lord. First, concentrate on the potency, which is known as Virat Rupa. After showing the Virat Rupa only, Arjuna says, I don't want to see this, I want to see a beautiful. That is understanding the potency of Lord. Concentrate with your intelligence on this. Because Ashtanga Yoga can take a person only to this level only. That means concentrating on the potency with this Ashtanga Yoga. That is how in the beginning it has been the first step in God realization. That is Brahman realization. The first step is what? Brahman. And Brahman is what? Energy of Lord. Brahman is potency of Lord. So even to concentrate on Brahman, one has to follow Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana. And where? On Dhyana, on what? Virata Rupa. That is on the potency of 23rd verse. Now 24th verse. विशेषस्तस्य देहोऽयं स्थविष्टश्च स्थवीयसां चित्रेदं व्यजये व्यजयते विश्वं भूतं भव्यं भवच्च तत् सत् भवच्च सत् विशेषः पर्सनल तस्य हिस् देह बॉडी अयन्तिस् स्थविष्टः grossly material and sthavi yasam of all matter yatra wherein idam all these phenomena vyajayate is experience vishwam universal bhutam past bhavyam future bhavat present and sat present. This gigantic manifestation of the phenomenal material world as a whole is a personal body of the Supreme Lord, wherein the universal resultant past, present, and future of material time is experienced. So, this body of the universal form is more solid than the solid. That is what is spoken by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Within that form, the past, present, and future of the universe, the products of the Lord, are seen. That means time factor is seen. We are speaking about the phenomenal material world, that is gross material world. This is the personal form of Lord, the body of Lord. And how it is more solid. And in that, time factor exists. Now, in the spiritual world, there is no time. Time is beyond time and space. But here, time is there. This is known as Samashti universal form. Visheshaha means it is Samashti. Samashti universal form means it is a form which you can meditate on. It is solid form. So, with purity of heart, dharana on the form of Vishnu with spiritual form becomes easy. Okay. Read Krishna. We can read all both of you. Both the
Yes, Mataji.
24.
23rd verse. Shri Shuka Uvacha Jitasano Jitashvaso Jitasango Jitendriyaha Kule Bhagavato Rupe Manasandhare Yedhiya. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shukadev Goswami answered, one should control the sitting posture, regulate the breathing process by the yogic pranayam, and thus control the mind and senses, and with intelligence apply the mind to the gross potencies of the Lord called the Virat Rupa. Purport. The materially absorbed mind of the conditioned soul does not allow him to transcend the limit of the bodily conception of self, and thus the yoga system for meditation, controlling the sitting posture and breathing process, and fixing the mind upon the Supreme is prescribed in order to mold the character of the gross materialist. Unless such materialists are able to cleanse this materially absorbed mind, It is impossible for them to concentrate upon thoughts of transcendence, and to do so, one may fix one's mind on the gross material or external feature of the Lord. The different parts of the gigantic form of the Lord are described in the following verses. The materialistic men are very anxious to have some mystic powers as a result of such a controlling process, but the real purpose of yogic regulations is to eradicate the accumulated dirty things like lust, anger, avarice, and all such material contamination. If the mystic yogi is diverted by the accompanying feats of mystic control, then his mission of yogic success is a failure because the ultimate aim is God realization. He is therefore recommended to fix his gross materialistic mind by a different conception and thus realize the potency of the Lord. As soon as the potencies are understood to be instrumental manifestations of the transcendence, one automatically advances to the next step and gradually the stage of full realization becomes possible for him. Text 24. विशेषस्तस्य देहोऽयं तव तविष्टश्च सवीयसम् तव विशस् तविष्टश्च सवीयसाम् यत्रेदं व्यज्यते विश्वं भूतं भव्यं भवच्च सत्. Translation. This gigantic manifestation of the phenomenal material world as a whole is the personal body of the absolute truth, wherein the universal resultant past, present, and future of material time is experienced. Purport. Anything, either material or spiritual, is but an expansion of the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and as stated in the Bhagavad Gita 13.13, the omnipotent Lord has his transcendental eyes, heads, and other bodily parts distributed everywhere. He can see, hear, touch, or manifest himself anywhere and everywhere, for he is present everywhere as the super soul of all infinitesimal souls. Although he has his particular abode in the absolute world, the relative world is also his phenomenal representation because it is nothing but an expansion of his transcendental energy. Although he is in his abode, his energy is distributed everywhere, just as the sun is localized as well as expanded everywhere, since the rays of the sun, being non different from the sun, are accepted as expansions of the sun disk. In the Vishnu Puran 1.22.52, it is said that as the fire expands its rays and heat from one place, similarly the Supreme Spirit, the personality of Godhead, expands himself by his manifold energy everywhere and anywhere. The phenomenal manifestation of the gigantic universe is only a part of his Virat body. Less intelligent men cannot conceive of the transcendental, all spiritual form of the Lord, but they are astounded by his different energies, just as the aborigines are struck with wonder by the manifestation of lightning, a gigantic mountain, or a hugely expanded banyan tree. The aborigines praise the strength of the tiger and the elephant because of their superior energy and strength. The asuras cannot recognize the existence of the Lord, although there are vivid descriptions of the Lord in the revealed scriptures. Although the Lord incarnates and exhibits his uncommon strength and energy, and although he is accepted as the Supreme Personality of Godhead by learned scholars and saints like Vyasadeva, Narada, Asita, and Devala in the past, and by Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, as also by the Acharyas like Shankara, Ramanuja, Madhva, and Lord Sri Chaitanya in the modern age. The Asuras do not accept any evidential proof from the revealed scriptures, nor do they recognize the authority of the great Acharyas. They want to see with their own eyes at once. Therefore, they can see the gigantic body of the Lord as Virat, which will answer their challenge. And since they are accustomed to paying homage to superior material strength like that of the tiger, elephant, and lightning, they can offer respect to the Virat Rupa. Lord Krishna, by the request of Arjuna, exhibited his Virat Rupa for the Asuras. A pure devotee of the Lord, being unaccustomed to looking into such a mundane, gigantic form of the Lord, requires special vision for the purpose. The Lord therefore favored Arjuna with special vision for looking into his Virat Rupa, which is described in the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. This Virat Rupa of the Lord was especially manifested not for the benefit of Arjuna, but for that unintelligent class of men who accept anyone and everyone as an incarnation of the Lord, and so mislead the general mass of people. For them, the indication is that one should ask the chief incarnation to exhibit his Virat Rupa and thus be established as an incarnation. The Virat Rupa manifestation of the Lord is simultaneously a challenge to the atheist and a favor for the asuras, who can think of the Lord as Virat and thus gradually cleans the dirty things from their hearts in order to become qualified to actually see the transcendental form of the Lord in the near future. This is a favor of the all merciful Lord to the atheist and the gross materialist. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Any questions?
Mataji, what is pantheism and what does it mean to meditate on the different limbs of the Vishnu?
It will come now. Virat
Uh,
Rupa will be, because when we know the artistic people or less intelligent people, they're not able to focus on this form of Lord. The Lord says at least focus on the Virat Rupa. In that, what are compared to the limbs, how the trees are compared, which organ of Krishna it is compared, like this. That means when you see everywhere, you should remember Krishna. You should not forget. So less intelligent people can see the things around and then remember that supreme person. Still, they don't know who is that supreme person. Slowly,
mhm.
slowly, training process.
Okay. And spiritual world is beyond time. There is no time in the spiritual world. What does it mean? Like,
There is no
how
end,
to
there is no
understand?
beginning. There is no end, there is no beginning. Always eternal. Material world means there is an end, there is a beginning. Beginning, end, beginning, end.
But past, present, future, all this time.
All these things are related to time. That is why past
Ah,
goes away, present you're living, future
yes.
will come, again it will go. But in the spiritual world, this past, present, and future does not exist.
Oh, acha, acha. Thank you, Mataji.
अंजकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यश्च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो। वैष्णव वृंद की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।